Alright. So I imagine you guys want an explanation. Friday, woke up, went to work, fine. Worked until my first break, fine. On my first break, coming back into work, something going on with my back. Right in the small of my back. And I'm like, oh, that's not good. And I worked till lunch. And it got steadily worse and worse and worse. I don't know what the fuck I did. I didn't throw it out doing something. I didn't tweak it. I didn't do shit. My back started hurting really bad. And it hurt to stand up. And then I found out it hurt to sit down. And I'm like, well, this isn't fucking good. I don't have a laying down type of job. I have a sitting job that I can do, sitting. And I have a standing job that I can do, standing. And I can kind of jostle them around to where I can do the standing stuff while I'm sitting if I really want to, and I can do the sitting stuff standing if I really need to. Right? What the fuck? I couldn't sit and I couldn't stand. If I did either for too long, man, it was just excruciating. I constantly had to be moving. I constantly had to be stretching. I constantly had to be, figuring out a new way to be that wasn't going to hurt. So I went to lunch because I'm like, look, if I can't fucking figure something out during lunch, I popped some ibuprofen, went to lunch. I'm like, maybe that'll hit. And then I should be good for the rest of the day. I was not good for the rest of the day. And about a half an hour or so after I came back from lunch, I'm like, dude, I'm going home. This is not fucking good. And I came home and I laid down. Blissful, no pain. For the first time in like hours, no pain. And I'm like, alright, this is great. But now what? I'm not going to just lay in bed fucking until the shit gets better. So I came out here in the living room. I sat down here in this chair. And I found out that this was the only way that I could sit. Needless to say, this was more or less the position I was in Friday and Saturday. And by Sunday I could kind of sit like this. But I can't do a fucking video when the best I can do is like sit with my hat, propping my head up. This is the best I can do. No, I can't do that shit. So that is why I did not get to the Nick Cannon shit this fucking weekend. And I'm pissed off about it because god damn is it fucking hysterical. But it's also kind of long and I don't know where I'm going to cut it off. Because like he starts into this whole weight thing and then he moves on to Jews. And then he moves on to like fucking making fun of black people. And then he moves on to like shitting on, I don't know, transgender people. Like, I don't know. He just fucking kind of goes everywhere. And like I'm recording it. I have it recorded. I have what I'm going to do recorded. So if it's been scrubbed from the internet, no, I don't care. So I have it recorded, and I was just sitting there watching it, and I mean, I think I recorded like 20 fucking minutes of this shit before I'm like, alright, goddamn. And I turned the fucking thing off, so I'm like, this could be... So I'm going to start working on it tonight. I'm going to like, cut it up and figure out what I'm going to use. I'm going to start working on it tonight, and I'll get it done hopefully tomorrow. But today, I wanted to talk about other shit. I made a list. Right? So, what was it? I think it was yesterday. Yeah, yesterday. This is yesterday's video. Yesterday, I came into work and like I saw that there was a new person that looked familiar. You know what I mean? Like I see somebody working on a line that's obviously never been on the line before, but yet looks familiar to me still to some degree. Right? And as I'm, walking up my lane, getting closer to the time clock, I see that it's our purchaser. working a line. And I'm like, and then I noticed that our sales dude is working another stage of the line. And one of our customer service people is on the end. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? So I go clock in, I go back to, I go to like the more general area of the warehouse where like everybody's desks are, except for mine and one of my bosses. And so I go over there, and I go up to one dude, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Why are there office people like working? Office people don't work. Like, what the fuck is going on? And he's like, they're running a line. And I'm like, I know, what the fuck? And he's like, you didn't read the email? I'm like, man, I work on a totally different thing. I only get the all emails, and I don't give a fuck about them. And he's like, well, it was an all email. And I'm like, well, what the fuck? So he shows me the email. And the email said, in these trying times, we're having difficulty finding people. And I'm like, we're having difficulty finding people? He's like, yeah. He's like, there's only half of this place working. And I'm like, what? He's like, have you been in the back? And I'm like, what fucking reason do I have to be in the back? And he's like, go look in the back. So I go look in the back. Nobody's back there. There's like 6 lines that are just, nobody's back there. I'm like, where are the fuck people? And he's like, dude, we can't get anybody. Like, because we hire almost exclusively through temp agencies. Like, we do bring people on to become leads. But all of just like the people, they're on from the temp agency. So when the pandemic hit, a lot of those people went, oh, I'm on unemployment. So they went on unemployment. And they got a $600 a fucking week bonus. And I'm like, we can't find people to work. And dude's like, no, we can't find people to work. Nobody's fucking coming in. All we've got is our employees. That's it. And so people in the office were requested to volunteer if they would like to come out and run a line. And I'm like, wow. So it's been a lot of fun to watch the people who don't work for a living actually work for a living. That shit has been hysterical. Fucking Monday was hot as fuck. Yesterday. Yesterday was hot as fuck. And man, they were not happy. And they were sweating. Oh, dude. It was funny as hell. Anyways. So. Yeah, I just thought that was crazy. We have, what? 13 million people out of work or whatever it is. I don't remember what the last unemployment numbers actually were, but it's like millions of people out of work. And we can't find people to fill positions. So now is the time, folks. If you hate where you're at and you want to go someplace else, it is a fucking buyer's market as far as jobs are concerned. So consider that. But at the same time, didn't a lot of people say we're kind of incentivizing people to not go to work? Isn't that going to be a problem? And I believe that the quote from Bernie Sanders, which, as you know, I have memorized because it was retarded. The quote was, oh, boo-hoo, so some people are going to get some extra money. And other people said, I have faith that the American people will want to go back to work no matter how much money they're being paid by us. Recently I got a bug up my ass. I decided I wanted to play Skyrim. Skyrim is a very fun game. The level progression in it is amazing. Jesus. You don't technically get experience for things. Like if you kill something, normally in a game you'd get X amount of experience. When you reach X amount of experience, you level, right? Skyrim's kind of like that, but it adds an extra layer. Every time you hit something with a sword, or take damage, or cast a spell, or do just about anything that there's a skill attached to, you get skill experience. When your skill levels up, you get level experience. And when you reach so much level experience, your character levels. I love it. I think it's a great concept. Because it adds a deeper element roleplay, a roleplay element, a deeper element roleplay, a deeper roleplay element to actual leveling. It lets you kind of be able to know more acutely what it is you're doing that's making your character gain experience and level. Like what's making your character level. It wasn't that I just ran around and killed a whole bunch of stuff. It was because I killed a whole bunch of stuff with this type of weapon and this type of weapon, and I used this type of armor, and I did this thing, and I did that, right? So it gives you kind of a broader view of why it is you're gaining experience and such, and why it is that you are becoming more powerful, right? And I love the game because, God, that system is easy as fuck to just exploit, right? I remember the first time I ever played Skyrim, and I didn't do it this time because, God, was it fucking just obnoxious to do. But there's a point in the beginning of the game, and I mean the beginning of the game. You get carried in on a carriage, you're all about to be executed, dragon attacks. Oh shit! Everybody goes, fucking run! You run around, you run through some things, dragon attacks, you run around through some other things, dragon attacks, you run around through some other shit, and then you get into these caves. Right? Like, that's literally what I'm talking about when I'm saying, like, in the beginning of the game. And then there's this bear. The bear is asleep, right? This is your sneaking tutorial. You can max out your sneak to like 100. Right fucking there. Why not? All you have to have is the desire to sit for hours and nudge towards the bear to wake it up. It'll turn around and look at you, not see you because you're hiding. Fucking bears, right? And then, bearing, if you're watching, fucking bears, right? And then it'll turn around, lay back down, and then you just nudge toward it again. It'll get back up. You just do that over and over and over again, and then you slowly nudge back, right? So you don't actually piss it off. And you can just do that. It'll take like a couple of hours. But yeah, you can just max out your sneak right fucking there. And have level 100 sneak into the game. Right out of the fucking gate. You are a master stealth person. You're fucking ninja! Right? You can do that kind of shit with anything. You do a lot of just running around out in the field. Right? So why not cast spells? Like spells that don't really do anything. Oh, I'll turn on my light. Light. You just keep casting your light over and over and over again. And watch your shit just level. And of course you're level. You level really fast in that fucking game because the system is easy as fuck to game. You can game that system like it's nothing. Kind of like our government. And if you seriously are going to do this, I'm banking on all of the American people to not want to game the system. If that's your fucking pitch, fuck you. No. It's a bad idea. Obviously, if that's where you have to go with it, we're just going to trust that people aren't going to fuck us? What are you, stupid? Stupid question. Anyways, so, yeah. And I was like, wow. I was like, you know, the Democrats right now are pushing to extend that shit until January. And the dude looks at me and he goes, what? And I'm like, yeah, they want to push that shit. Pelosi and all them, they want to push that shit until January. And he's like, no, we need people. And I'm like, that's what they want to do, man. And he's like, fuck that. And I'm like, So, yeah. He's like, I didn't even know about that. I'm like, I just heard about it on the news in my last break. I'm like, there you go. And he's like, fuck me. So that's how fast I'm seeing now the effect of world news. You want to know how quickly I used to see the effect of world news? It would take years for me to actually finally experience the effects of government shit. I heard about something they want to do to extend something that I said months ago was a dumb fucking idea, and already I go into work and not even an hour later I'm seeing the effects of why it was a dumb fucking idea. Just that fucking fast, folks. The Democrats have really stepped up their work. And man, oh man, are they playing like a really shitty game with the lives of human beings. Dude. Alright, let me set the stage for you. Shit ton of protesters, like 1,000 people or something. Actually, you know me in numbers. Shit ton of people show up at a federal building, right? And they are trying to burn the federal building, courthouse, to the ground. This is happening in Portland, right? Now, I'm going to give you reality throughout the whole thing. I'm not even going to fuck around. It's complex enough that if I try to give it to you piecemeal and then fuck around and play games and shit, it's just going to get fucking confused. I'm going to miss parts and people are going to scream at me in the comments and I don't want to hear about it. So, they're attacking a federal courthouse. This is a federal building. This is not a city building. This is a federal building. That is under the jurisdiction of the federal government. Right? So what happens there is Trump's jurisdiction. He's the head cop of the country. His job is to enforce our laws. That is, when you boil it down to the root, his job is to enforce our laws. The federal laws. He is not there to enforce city and state laws. No, that is not his job. But federal buildings, in whatever fucking city or state they're in, that is federal jurisdiction. So, Trump sends in the Border Patrol, essentially, right? These are our border cops. Department of Homeland Security. The department that secures the homeland was brought in to secure the federal building in the homeland. Right? The federal cops came to protect the federal courthouse. Now these guys are marked. They have patches on the front of their camo gear. It says police. They have patches on each shoulder that say where they're from and blah blah blah, and they have numbers. ID numbers. It's better than a name. You want to know why? Because that number, if given correctly, will lead directly to that person. There's nobody else with that number. There may be other people with that dude's last name. My last name happens to be Thomas. I don't mind telling you guys that. You want to know why? Extremely common fucking last name. And if I rolled up with a patch on my chest that said Thomas, and I did something fucked up, and you wanted to report me, and you said, well, the patch on his chest said Thomas. We've got 100 Thomases in the fucking Border Patrol. What? Did he give you his first name? But if it's a number, 007, right? Then you go, he had a thing on his chest that said 007, and they'll go, oh, that is this person. Right? They're identified. They are very identified. if you're hearing that they are unidentified, it's horseshit. Now, they are using unmarked vehicles to pick people up who are attacking the federal courthouse. Alright? You're going to hear that in the news. That's true. You want to know why? Because shitheads are burning cop cars. So yeah, they're getting rented vans. And they're using those because people aren't burning rented vans. They're burning cop cars. If people were burning rented vans and not burning cop cars, they'd be using cop cars. Just saying. So, but that's getting off topic. So, Trump calls in the federal police to go and protect federal property. They come in. They sit inside the federal building. Rioters begin to break down the fences to get at the federal building. They begin throwing things at federal building. Like burnable shit, right? The federal cops then exit the federal building and they begin to disperse the crowd using all of the horrible techniques with which everybody's saying they used. That's what happened, right? People came to protest at the courthouse. Other people came to burn it down. The people that wanted to burn it down started tearing down the fence and scaling the fence, climbing the fence to get at the building they wanted to burn down. The cops inside said, well, we're not going to let this shit happen. And they exited the building to stop that shit from happening. They used pepper. Yeah, whatever the fuck it all is they used. They used that shit. Yeah. They didn't shoot them with live ammo. They were firing out of murder holes. Now let me explain. A murder hole is a very oldie-timey term. Like, I'm talking medieval oldie-timey era. You ever seen castles? You know, like they have those windows, but they're not really windows. They're just like slits in the wall. That's a murder hole. In oldie timies, whenever somebody would try to siege a castle, they would shoot arrows out of those holes so as to murder people. Right? They were murder holes. They were the holes with which people got murdered from. That was what they were called. They were murder holes. Now the reason why they did this was because they could shoot arrows all day long out of those little slits and hit a massive group of people that's all clustered together out there in the fucking field out in front of the castle. They do that all day. But if you think you're going to shoot an arrow from the ground into that hole, you're out of your fucking mind. So it was an amazingly good technique. Nowadays, yes, we still do keep what you would call murder holes. Little holes in buildings that can be opened up and things like, you know, rioter dispersant can be fired from it. These are government buildings. These are very secure buildings. They're not stupid. And they are more than happy and willing to use oldie-timey techniques because, yet again, they can shoot out of those holes all day. And you ain't got shit. You ain't gonna shoot into that little hole and make it more often than not. So, I don't know what to tell you. Yeah, they're using murder holes. Are you seriously going to be so silly as to go, oh, murder holes? And act like that fucking means anything? Whatever. This is the PR game we're playing. We're literally playing a PR game here with people's lives. Yes, there were a whole bunch of Antifa chicks with shirts on that said, "I'm a mother." Yes, that's true. And they all linked arms and sang stupid songs, and yeah, that's true. And then at some point, the moms take off their mom shirts and put on the black shirts, and then they raid the fucking courthouse. They've been doing this now for like a week or some shit, right? Now, the fucking mayor, she wants the federal police to leave. Well, first of all, sorry, bitch. That ain't your fucking jurisdiction. That's a federal courthouse. It's under the jurisdiction of the federal fucking government. And the federal police will protect it if your local police are unwilling or incapable. It's life. That's our government. That's how it works. Like, that's how it works. They're not going to just let them burn the building to the ground. They're not like you. They want to keep their property intact. You don't give a fuck how many small businesses or residential homes or whatever the fuck else people burn in your fucking town. And that's fun. You want the town to burn? God bless, man. I personally, I think it's morally and ethically and in every other way that you can think reprehensible. But hey, I'm not a government official. I don't know how to play those kind of politics. I'm just a normal guy. I see people, burning buildings and attacking people and that kind of shit. I see all that and I think, wow, whatever it is that led to that and whatever it is that's keeping that going, that's bad. So, we're letting the rioters just go ahead and go and riot. But when they get to the federal courthouse, they're not dealing with the people who don't give a fuck. They're dealing with people who care. That's life. Man can do it. Fuck you. Right? So, she's bitching. She wants the Fed cops out of there. They're like, fuck you. And now, I guess things have gotten bad enough that dumb fuck has decided, well, yeah, it would be nice to have some backup. So now she's interested in working with the government in order to, figure this shit out. What the fuck ultimately that means? Fucking no. I heard an interview with the guy who's kind of running the operation there in Portland. And he's like, look, they both have my number. I talked to them both earlier today. And it was not productive. And I gave them both my number. And anytime they would like to talk about a joint effort, my phone's on. It's working. And I'm like, oh my god. Oh my god. So, yeah. So yeah, they want the feds to go. Now they kind of want some feds to stay. Now they need help. And tomorrow they're probably going to be bitching about why the feds aren't going to leave. We asked them for help. The help we asked them for was to fuck off. And they're still not doing it. Like, but it is a, these people are running up and punching cops and then running away and going, you can't touch me. No, it doesn't fucking work like that. You're stupid. You're stupid people. Like, you're stupid fucking people. Anyways, so yeah, like, the Democrats are really just, man, they're just looking to fuck everybody in the ass. Like, my boss asked me the other day. He said, you still think Trump's gonna win? I said, dude, I will bet you $5 right now. And this is 2 months earlier than the last time somebody asked me that question. And I would be willing to bet you $5 right now on it. I'm like, are you going to take the bet? And he's like, nah. And I'm like, all right, man. But this is why. This is exactly why. A lot of people are out of work right now. Not all of them are rioting. Some of them are just sitting at home. A lot of them are watching the news because they're interested in finding out when the fuck they're either going to get to go back to work or going to have to go back to work. Right? So they're paying attention to shit. And what's going on right now is this. And I don't know if you've noticed or not, but Fox News ratings are through the fucking roof. So a lot of people are watching Fox. Personally, I find that a good thing because Fox gives you the news. Right? A lot of other channels give you opinions. Fox gives you a lot of opinions. But they also give you the news. Like if you actually watch the news, like if you're watching Gutfield, that's an opinion show. They all get together and they give their opinions on what they think is going on. If you watch Tucker even, Tucker's mostly an opinion show. It's what he thinks is going on. He does a lot of news, but he does a lot of opinion shit. He injects his own thoughts into every fucking story he does. Right? So I look at him as opinion news. Right? He's talking about what's going on, but he's mostly doing it so he can give you his opinion. Fucking, I feel the same thing about Hannity. This is an opinion guy. Right? Ingram, all of them. They're all fucking opinion guys. But if you listen to like, what is it, America's News Desk or whatever the fuck it is, like the actual afternoon show, you listen to that, doing the news. You listen to Harris Faulkner, they're doing the news. Like, Outnumbered, that's an opinion show. Outnumbered Overtime, where it's just Harris, she's doing the news. Like, it's a lot of news. They do a lot of news. So a lot of people are actually getting a lot of news. And all of the opinion shows pretty much, they're opinion shows. Like, they don't really put themselves off like the news all the time. Anyways, so I think that's awesome. A lot of people are paying attention to what's going on. And the Democrats are fucking retarded. Because they are literally playing like optics politics with the president. And they're using human lives as the stakes. Kids are getting shot. A 1-year-old got shot. I heard of a 3-year-old that's gotten shot. Like, isn't the whole fucking, the whole operation of protecting these government buildings, the whole thing that I'm talking about right now, isn't the whole thing like a code name? The code name is like a kid, it's the name of some dead kid? They're playing chicken with the president and they're using our lives. How many of us need to die before everybody either bends to the will of the Democrats or decides to support our president for once? That's what they're doing. That's no fucking joke. But watch the actual news. Read the actual news. What's actually going on? Who's deciding this is a good idea? Really think about it critically. And you will understand that the Democrats and the president are playing chicken with our lives. Will you bend to their will or will you support him? That is what this election is coming to. He wants to protect us and make our country great again. Keep our country great. All that sort of thing. He's talking about how we need cops, we need kids to go back to school and learn, we need people to go back to work. He started saying we need masks, he's saying all this shit, we need to be careful. Yeah, it's called life. You walk out there in the world and you do your best to try and not get fucked up. And you hope you make it home not fucked up. You gotta be smart. And that's so fucking sad for this time period. People have to be smart. But you go out and you do shit. Like, you don't... We're not going to seriously fucking bunker down. We didn't do this kind of shit when 9/11 happened. We fucking freaked out with fuck all that. We ain't going to stay in and lose, let them win? No! And I get it, man. It's a disease. It's a whole different thing. But wash your hands. Wear your mask. Do all the shit you need to do to protect yourself. Protect yourself. Don't be stupid. My two things of advice. Protect yourself. Don't be stupid. Dude, man, fucking, we got a new guy at work. And I went to introduce myself to him because my boss is like, oh, I'll introduce you to all the guys, later on. And then that never happened. So I walked up to him because I saw him and I was like, hey, I want to introduce myself. My name's Andy, blah, blah, blah. And he told me his name. And I shook his hand. Man meeting another man for the first time. Just fucking shake hands. My name's done. Just fucking shake hands. And I'm shaking his hand and I kind of ripped my hand out of his hand. And I was like, well, and I kind of I just didn't even fucking acknowledge it. And I just kind of, you need anything, let me know. I know a lot of stuff around here. I'm always happy to help. And I'm always over there. Blah, blah, blah. And he's like, all right, cool, man. And as I'm walking away, I'm thinking about that. And I'm like, oh my God, I hope he doesn't think I'm like racist. Because there's so much stupid shit going on right now. And first time I ever met the man. That's why I'm shaking his hand. I don't know who he is, how he thinks, what the fuck. He's a black guy. I probably should have fucking mentioned that. He's a black guy. Right? I'm shaking the hand of a black man, and then I rip my hand. And then I saw him later, and I was like, hey, you probably, this probably isn't even a thing. This is probably just my stupidity. But when I shook your hand earlier, I was like, that wasn't for anything like fucked up. That was because of COVID. Because and he starts laughing. He's like, no, man. He's like, I totally get you. He's like, I fucking thought the same thing. I'm shaking your hand going, oh shit, well, this is not good. And I'm like, all right. And we fell out and had a good laugh about it. It was funny. And racial harmony. But yeah, dude, fucking just where the fuck? What was my ultimate point going to be with this? Why am I telling this story? I don't know. They're playing chicken with our lives. The man wants to fucking. I have yet to see the president want to do anything that I have strongly enough disagreed with that I would be willing to speak out against it. Everything he's wanted to do, the reasons ultimately at the end of the day have made sense to me. You take that for what it's fucking worth. But I trust the guy. Maybe it's because I can actually listen to the words that are actually coming out of his mouth, and I can interpret them as a human being interprets the words of a human being. I don't need to have somebody else tell me what he said like he's God. That's what they used to, since we're going to go back to ye old and medieval times. That was the fucking idea of the church. People weren't, like the commoners, they weren't allowed to read the Bible. They wouldn't understand the Word of God. They couldn't understand the Word of God. We had to tell them what it meant. CNN is like the medieval church. And Donald Trump is fucking giving the Word of God to us. And you plebs are not sophisticated enough to understand it. So they have to tell you what it is he says and what it is that means. I just would love for people to consider that.